crimson dawn painted the alien landscape in shades of copper and gold as Zara Blackwood adjusted her thermal scanner. 3 years she had spent on this remote frontier world, monitoring the delicate balance between human settlements and the indigenous Cathera, predators. Her weathered hands moved with practiced precision across the control panel of Outpost Aurora. Perched on the edge of the whispering canyons, steam rose from her coffee mug as she studied the morning readings. The Cathera were magnificent creatures, standing nearly 4 meters tall, with crystalline fur that shifted colors with their emotions. Intelligence radiated from their amber eyes, and their telepathic abilities made them formidable hunters. Something about them had always fascinated rather than frightened her. A soft chime interrupted her thoughts. Sector 7 showed an anomaly. Heat signatures too small to be adults, but too large to ignore. Zara grabbed her field kit and climbed into her hoverbike, silent engines carrying her across the rocky terrain toward the disturbance. The scene that greeted her made her heart clench. Two Cathara cubs, no bigger than earth wolves, lay trapped. In cruel wire snares, their crystalline fur had dulled to gray with pain and fear. One cub whimpered softly while the other stood guard, bearing tiny fangs in a futile display of protection. "Damn poachers," Zara whispered, recognizing the illegal traps designed to capture young Cathera for the black market. Their enhanced organs and color-shifting pelts commanded astronomical prices in the outer colonies. Protocol demanded she'd call for backup and wait. Adult Cathara protected their young with legendary ferocity. But looking at the wounded cub's labored breathing, she knew it wouldn't survive that long. The healthy cub would stay with its sibling, making both easy targets when the poachers returned. Zara activated her device. Outpost Aurora to base command. To juvenile Cathara, trapped in illegal snares, Sector 7. One critically injured. No adult signatures detected. Negative on approach, Blackwood, came the sharp reply from Captain Vale. Mark location and withdraw. We'll send a team. She looked again at the dying cub, its breathing growing shallower. Sir, the injured one, won't make it. Requesting permission to intervene. Long pause followed, but that's against protocol. You know what happens if the parents show up? I'll be quick, she insisted. No adult readings within 5 kilometers. Your funeral, Blackwood. But if this goes sideways, you're on your own. Zara approached slowly, hands visible and empty. The healthy cub's growl intensified, but it held position rather than attacking. She activated her scent neutralizer, masking the human odor that might trigger aggression. Kneeling beside the trap, she examined the cruel wire that had cut deep into the cub's hind leg.
Yes.
Easy there, she murmured, drawing a nano-injector from her kit. The painkiller was designed for large mammals, and she hoped the dosage would work. The healthy cub watched intently as she administered the injection, its crystalline fur shifting from angry red to cautious orange. Within moments, the wounded cub's whimpers subsided. Zara drew her plasma cutter, its soft hum causing the guardian cub to tense. But instead of fleeing, it seemed to understand her intent. Stepping aside as she carefully cut through the wire, biofoam sealed the wound instantly, forming a protective coating that would dissolve as healing progressed. Zara sat back on her heels, exhausted by the tension. There you go, little ones. Her proximity alarms suddenly screamed. Multiple large signatures approached from the north, moving with impossible speed. The guardian cub's fur shifted to brilliant gold, and it called out in a series of musical tones that made Zara's heart race. From the crystalline forest, they emerged like living gemstones, their fur reflecting the morning light in dazzling patterns. 3 massive Cathara adults, led by what could only be the matriarch. She stood 4 meters tall, her presence radiating power and ancient wisdom. Zara's combat systems urged retreat, calculating impossible odds. But running would trigger their chase instincts. Fighting was suicide. She remained perfectly still as the matriarch approached, amber eyes studying her with unsettling intelligence. The great creature bent to examine her cubs, massive paws gentle as butterfly wings as she inspected the treated wound, then those golden eyes fixed on Zara with an intensity that seemed to peer into her very soul. The matriarch's judgment, the world held its breath as predator and human faced each other across an impossible divide. The matriarch's crystalline fur shifted through a spectrum of colors, from deep purple contemplation to silver curiosity. Her two companions flanked Zara, their breath visible in the cool morning air. But they made no aggressive moves. Slowly, deliberately, the matriarch tilted her massive head. When she spoke, it wasn't in words but in a complex symphony of tones that seemed to resonate in Zara's bones. The universal translator in her helmet struggled before displaying a fragmented message. Why help ... Cubs ... not your kind? Zara's mouth went dry. First contact protocols filled her mind, but they all assumed hostile encounters, not this moment of profound questioning. She lowered her weapon completely, spreading her hands in what she hoped was a universal gesture of peace. But they were hurt, she said simply, trusting her translator to convey the meaning. It was the right thing to do. The matriarch's fur rippled with what looked almost like surprise, shifting to pale gold. She stepped closer, close enough that Zara could see her reflection in those ancient eyes. The scent of ozone and wild storms filled the air between them. Human ... different. The translation came through clearer now. No fear, no hate. Why? Before Zara could answer, her cum crackled to life. Blackwood, your vitals are off the charts. Report your status immediately. Sudden noise caused the two guardian adults to tense, but the matriarch raised a paw in a gesture that seemed oddly human. Command for calm. Zara slowly reached. For her cum, Dr. Reed, I need you to listen carefully, she said, never breaking eye contact with the matriarch. I'm in communication with adult Cathara. They're not hostile. The cubs are being cared for. Static filled the cum before Dr. Marcus Reed's voice came through, tight with disbelief. Did you say communication, Zara? That's impossible. Tell Captain Vale that first contact protocols are in effect, she continued. No sudden movements, no backup, unless I call for it. The matriarch listened to this exchange, her head tilting as if analyzing every word. When Zara finished, the great creature made a sound like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. Her fur shifted to warm amber, and she carefully lifted the injured cub with astonishing gentleness. Dead acknowledged. The translation came through crystal clear. Human Zara Blackwood. Name remembered. The fact that she knew Zara's name sent chills down her spine. These creatures had been monitoring human communications, learning their language, understanding far more than anyone had realized. The implications were staggering. As the Cathara prepared to leave, the matriarch paused at the forest edge, turned back, and for a moment, Zara could swear she saw something almost like a smile in those alien features. Double quotes you. Different from others, she said. Perhaps we meet again. Then they were gone, disappearing into the crystalline trees like living dreams. Zara stood alone in the clearing, her mind reeling from what had just occurred. Her hands shook as she climbed back onto her hoverbike, the weight of first contact. Settling on her shoulders, back at Outpost Aurora, chaos greeted her arrival. Captain Vale paced the command center like a caged animal while Dr. Reed frantically analyzed her suit's recordings. The entire base buzzed with excitement and fear. Years of protocols, Vale muttered, running his hands through graying hair. 23 years, and you throw them out the window for a couple of cubs? Sir, they were dying, Zara protested. And the adults? They could have killed me easily. Instead, they talked. They showed gratitude. Dr. Reed looked up from his screens, his face pale with excitement. Zara, do you understand what you've accomplished? True two-way communication with the Cathara. The linguistic patterns alone will revolutionize our understanding of their culture. That night, Zara couldn't sleep. She stood on the observation deck, staring out at the crystalline forest that glowed softly under the alien stars. Where? Out there, the matriarch was caring for her cubs. And perhaps thinking about the strange human who had helped them. A movement in the trees caught her eye. A flash of amber fur, there and gone in an instant, but long enough for Zara to see those familiar golden eyes watching her from the darkness. The matriarch was still there, still watching. Still curious about the human who had changed everything. As Zara raised her hand in a small wave, she could have sworn she saw the great creature nod before melting back into the forest shadows. 3 weeks had passed since first contact, and the galaxy had taken notice. Scientists, military officials, and diplomats flooded Outpost Aurora with demands for information. But the Cathara had vanished deeper into their crystalline forests. Avoiding all human contact except for one, every evening at sunset, Zara would find signs of their presence. A gift of luminescent flowers arranged in perfect spirals. Strange symbols carved into the rock faces near her usual patrol routes. And always, the sense of being watched by those intelligent golden eyes. Captain Vale had grown increasingly frustrated with the lack of progress. 3 weeks, Blackwood, and nothing. No follow-up contact, no delegation, no response to our attempts at communication. Maybe your first contact was just a fluke. But Zara knew better. Late that evening, she made her way to the canyon's edge where she had first encountered the cubs. The night air was crisp, filled with the musical sounds of nocturnal creatures. She didn't have to wait long. The matriarch emerged from the shadows like a living constellation, her fur now shifting between deep blue and silver in the moonlight. She moved with fluid grace, stopping just at the edge of the clearing where they had first met. "You came," Zara said softly, her heart racing with an emotion she couldn't quite name. "Oh, every night." "You wait," the matriarch replied, her translation. Now flawless through some technology, Zara didn't understand. "Why do you seek us when your kind builds walls to keep us away?" Zara stepped closer, drawn by the creature's magnetic presence. "Because you're not what we thought you were. You're not just predators, you're people." Now the matriarch's fur rippled. With what looked like pleasure at the word people, she settled gracefully onto the ground, making herself less imposing. "I am called Nyx. In your language it means night, my cubs. I speak of the gentle human who freed them from pain." "Are they?" Zara asked, sitting cross-legged on the rocky ground. "Healing well?" the small one, Cosmos asks, when he can thank you properly. Nyx's amber eyes seemed to glow in the darkness. "But there's something else. My people. They debate what your actions mean. Some say it was kindness. Others fear it was strategy. And what do you believe?" Nyx was quiet for a long moment, her fur shifting through contemplative purples and golds. "I believe you saw children in pain and could not walk away. Yeah, this is not the human way we have observed." Their conversation continued deep into the night, ranging from philosophy to the nature of consciousness itself. Zara found herself fascinated by Nyx's perspectives on life, death, and the connections between all living things. The Cathara, she learned, experienced emotions as colors in their fur, making deception nearly impossible among their kind. "Your people hide their feelings behind masks," Nyx observed. "How do you know who speaks truth?" "We learn to read smaller signs," Zara explained. "Body language, tone of voice, the look in someone's eyes." Nyx leaned closer, studying Zara's face intently. "And what do my eyes tell you, human Zara?" The question hung in the air between them, loaded with meaning that neither could fully acknowledge. Zara felt her pulse quicken as she gazed into those hypnotic, golden orbs, seeing intelligence, curiosity, and something else that made her breath catch. "They tell me you're as curious about me as I am about you," she whispered. These secret meetings became routine, each one deeper and more intimate than the last. Nyx would share stories of Cathara culture, their connection to the crystalline forests, their ability to commune with the planet itself. In return, Zara spoke of human dreams, their drive to explore the stars, their capacity for both great kindness and terrible destruction, but their growing bond didn't go unnoticed. Vale began questioning Zara's extended patrol schedules. While sensors occasionally picked up large Cathara signatures near the base, tension built on both sides as more militant voices called for stronger defensive measures. One night, as autumn brought the first frost to the canyons, Nyx arrived in obvious distress. Her fur churned with angry reds and fearful yellows. "Grow suspicious of these meetings," she said, without preamble. "Some believe you are gathering intelligence for an attack. The Council of Elders demands I cease all contact. And will you? Zara asked, her heart sinking. Nyx's fur shifted too deep. Gold. The color Zara had learned indicated strong emotion. There is something between us that transcends species, she said quietly. I do not know what to call it in either of our languages. Neither did Zara, but she felt it too. This inexplicable connection that grew stronger with each meeting. If sensing her thoughts, Nyx extended one massive paw, palm up. Trembling slightly, Zara placed her small human hand against the warm crystalline fur. The moment their skin touched, both gasped. Colors exploded across Nyx's fur like aurora, while Zara felt a warm tingling that seemed to reach her very soul. For just an instant, she could sense Nyx's emotions directly. The wonder and affection and deep longing that mirrored her own. They jerked apart, both breathing hard. What was that? Zara whispered. No joining, Nyx replied, her voice filled with awe. Something that should not be possible between our kinds. The joining changed everything. In the days that followed, Zara could sense Nyx's presence even from miles away. A warm pulse in the back of her mind that brought both comfort and confusion. The connection defied everything known about Cathara. Telepathy, which was supposed to work only within their own species. Dr. Reed noticed the changes immediately. Your neural patterns are different, he observed during Zara's mandatory medical check. Enhanced theta waves, increased activity in regions associated with empathy and emotional processing. What exactly happened during your encounter? Couldn't explain without revealing the true extent of her relationship with Nyx. I think prolonged exposure to their telepathic fields might be causing some kind of adaptation. Meanwhile, Captain Vale's suspicions grew stronger. Blackwood, you're spending too much time in the outer sectors. I'm reassigning you to base duties until further notice. The order felt like a physical blow. That night, confined to the base, Zara could feel Nyx's distress through their connection. The Cathara matriarch was waiting at their usual meeting place, confused and worried by Zara's absence. Unable to bear the separation, Zara slipped out through the maintenance tunnels after midnight. She found Nyx pacing the clearing like a caged storm, her fur cycling through anxious patterns of orange and red. I thought something had happened to you, Nyx said, relief flooding her voice as she spotted Zara. Through our bond, I felt such pain. They're trying to stop us from meeting, Zara explained. My captain thinks I'm compromised, are you? Nyx asked, settling close enough that Zara could feel the warmth radiating from her massive form. If caring about you means being compromised, then yes, Zara admitted. I think about you constantly. I dream about these conversations. I've never felt anything like this before. Nyx's fur shifted to the deep gold that indicated profound emotion. Among my people, there is a concept called soulmate. It means two beings whose spirits recognize each other across any divide. I believed it was merely poetry until I met you. The admission hung between them, impossible and undeniable. Slowly, carefully, Nyx began to change. Her massive form shimmered like heat waves, and when the distortion cleared, she stood before Zara in humanoid shape, still tall at nearly 7 feet, still bearing the distinctive crystalline hair and golden eyes, but recognizably feminine in a way that made Zara's breath catch. How? Zara whispered. An ability we rarely use, Nyx explained, her voice now softer, more intimate. It requires great energy, but I wish to touch you properly. She extended her hand, and this time when their fingers intertwined, the joining was gentler, but no less profound. Colors danced across Nyx's crystalline hair as emotions flowed between them, unfiltered and pure. This is forbidden by both our peoples, Nyx said, but she made no move to pull away. Then we'll have to make our own rules, Zara replied, pulling. The transformed Cathara closer. Their first kiss was hesitant, an exploration across species barriers. But as their connection deepened, passion overcame uncertainty. Nyx's skin was warm to the touch, her hair shifting through every color of the spectrum as desire washed over them both. They made love under the alien stars. Their union a bridge between two worlds that had been separated by fear and misunderstanding. In the afterglow, wrapped in each other's arms, they whispered promises they knew might be impossible to keep. Whatever happens, Nyx murmured against Zara's hair. This moment is ours forever. But their stolen paradise couldn't last. Dawn brought harsh reality as Captain Vale's voice crackled through Zara's emergency comm. All personnel to battle stations. We have multiple Cathara signatures converging on the base. This is not a drill. Nyx shifted instantly back to her natural form, her fur blazing with alarm. The war party, she growled. They've discovered our meetings. Through the trees came a dozen adult Cathara, their fur dark with aggression. The enormous male whose scarred hide spoke of countless battles. His eyes fixed on Nyx with unmistakable fury. Thane, Nyx whispered. My brother. He leads the faction that wants war with humanity. The massive male's voice boomed across the clearing. As he spoke in rapid Kithara, his tone leaving no doubt about his anger, Nyx responded in kind, their argument escalating until both creatures' fur blazed with confrontational colors. He says I have been corrupted, Nyx translated for Zara. That my feelings for you are an abomination that endangers our entire species. What did you tell him? Zara asked, her hand moving instinctively to her sidearm. Nyx's fur shifted to defiant gold. I told him that love is never an abomination, and that you have shown me what humans could truly be if we gave them the chance. Thane roared his displeasure, the sound echoing off the canyon walls. Several of his followers tensed, ready to attack. But before violence could erupt, another sound filled the air, the whine of human aircraft approaching fast. Captain Vale's voice boomed from loudspeakers as military hovercraft surrounded the clearing. Attention Cathara forces. You are in violation of territorial agreements. Stand down immediately or face defensive action. The two groups faced each other across the clearing, weapons raised on both sides. In the center, Zara and Nyx stood as living proof that peace was possible, but also as the spark that might ignite the war both sides feared. The standoff stretched like a taut wire ready to snap at any moment. Human soldiers took defensive positions behind their aircraft while Cathara warriors spread out in hunting formations. In the center of it all, Zara and Nyx stood as both symbol and catalyst, their forbidden love threatening to tear two worlds apart. Stand down, Blackwood, Captain Vale's voice boomed through his amplifier. Step away from the hostile and return to base immediately. She is not hostile, Zara called back, her arm protectively encircling Nyx's waist. None of them are. There. Here because they're afraid, Thane snarled something in the Kithara language, his massive form tensing for attack. Several human soldiers raised their weapons higher, fingers hovering over triggers. The morning air crackled with tension. But before anyone could make the fatal move that would shatter the peace forever, the ground began to tremble. At first it was barely noticeable, a gentle vibration underfoot. Then it built rapidly, becoming a full earthquake that sent both sides scrambling for balance. What the hell? Captain Vale barked into his comm. Reed, are you reading any seismic activity? Dr. Reed's panicked voice crackled back. Sir, we've got massive energy readings from the planet's core. Something's wrong. Very wrong. The trembling intensified. And through the forest came an A sound that chilled everyone to the bone. A deep, rhythmic pulsing like a massive heartbeat. The crystalline trees began to glow brighter, their light shifting from peaceful blue to alarming. Red. Nyx suddenly gasped, her fur cycling rapidly through a spectrum of distressed colors. The planet, she whispered. It's dying, what do you mean? Zara demanded, helping steady the Cathara matriarch as another tremor shook the ground. We are connected to this world in ways your people don't understand, Nyx explained urgently. The crystalline network that runs through the forests, the very rocks beneath our feet, it's all one living organism, and it's in agony. Thane's aggressive posture crumbled as he too felt the planet's distress. He spoke rapidly to Nyx, his earlier anger replaced by desperate concern. He says the deep miners have struck the planet's neural core, Nyx translated. Your people's excavations have severed major pathways in the planetary consciousness. If it's not stopped, the entire ecosystem will collapse within hours. Captain Vale's face went pale as he processed this information. The mining operation. In Sector 12, he said quietly. They were going deeper than ever before, following some kind of crystalline vein. The ground bucked again, throwing several soldiers to their knees. Cracks appeared in the canyon walls, and the red glow from the trees intensified. "Sir," Dr. Reed's voice came through, increasingly frantic. "Whatever's happening, it's accelerating. We're reading massive tectonic instability across 3 continents. If this continues, we'll have global catastrophe within 6 hours." Nyx turned to Thane, speaking urgently in their native tongue. Her brother responded with what sounded like reluctant agreement, his scarred hide shifting to determined silver. "There is a way," Nyx announced to the assembled humans, "but it requires complete cooperation between our species. The Cathera can interface directly with the planetary consciousness, guide its healing. But we need your technology to reach the damaged areas, and your medical knowledge to stabilize the neural pathways. You're talking about a joint operation," Captain Vale said slowly. "Humans and Cathera working together." "More than working together," Nyx corrected. "We must share our minds, our very souls, to save this world. The joining I experienced with Zara, it must be expanded to include others." The implications were staggering. Species-wide telepathic contact, the ultimate first contact scenario. But as another massive tremor shook the ground and the red glow intensified, it became clear there was no choice. "How do we do this?" Zara asked. Nyx looked at her with eyes full of love and determination. "We start with us. Our bond is already strong. We become the bridge, allowing others to cross safely." What followed was the most incredible 6 hours in recorded galactic history. Human engineers worked alongside Cathera Earthsingers to map the damaged neural pathways. Dr. Reed collaborated with Cathara healers to develop hybrid medical techniques. Most remarkably, groups of humans and Cathara joined minds through carefully moderated telepathic links, their combined consciousness powerful enough to guide the planet's healing. Zara found herself at the center of it all, her unique bond with Nyx allowing her to translate not just languages, but entire modes of thought between the species. Through her, Captain Vale learned to sense the planet's pain directly, while Thane experienced human determination and ingenuity for the first time as the last neural pathway was repaired and the planet's core stabilized. Exhaustion swept over both species. But in that moment of shared triumph, something fundamental had changed. Humans and Cathara had touched souls, and the fear and mistrust that had separated them seemed suddenly childish. "Well," Captain Vale said wearily as the crystalline trees returned to their peaceful blue glow, "I suppose we'll need to rewrite all the first contact protocols." Thane approached Zara and Nyx, his massive form no longer threatening but almost respectful. When he spoke, his words were carefully chosen in accented but clear human language. "I was wrong about your bond," he admitted to his sister. "It was not corruption, but evolution. Perhaps our species were always meant to find each other." As dawn broke over the healed world, Zara and Nyx stood together, watching the sunrise paint the sky in shades of hope. Their love had not only survived the trials, but had become the foundation for a new age of interspecies cooperation. "So what happens now?" Zara asked, leaning into Nyx's embrace. "Now we build something beautiful together," Nyx replied, her fur shimmering with every color of joy, a future neither of our species could have imagined alone. And in the distance, human children and Cathara cubs played together in the crystal gardens, their laughter echoing across a world that had learned that love truly could conquer any divide.